A Spanish YouTuber keeps stealing Yu-Gi-Oh! Creators' videos by TGS Anime.
A Spanish YouTuber keeps stealing other Yu-Gi-Oh! Creators' content. Back in 2022, a YouTube channel called Enigma made a video revealing how a Spanish creator, Gigo Key, was stealing his and other people's videos. I recommend you check out Enigma's video on this subject, or just his channel in general, because it's very high quality and really good, which makes it all the more a shame because Gigo Key had taken a bunch of his videos, downloaded them, translated them into Spanish, recorded himself reading the scripts in his language, slightly edited the footage, and then re-uploaded it as if it was his own. Videos.
So that actually inherently becomes the issue, and this is actually partially why I wanted to react to this. That becomes the issue with React content, right? If I had just watched TGS Anime's video in the 9-minute, 20-second runtime that it is, and I added minimal commentary, minimal transformativeness, right? If I were to not really add anything, even if I just have my model, right? Oh, but your model's on... It doesn't... Not even from just like a copyright standpoint, is that necessarily moral or ethical, right? So I think we start getting into, I think someone could make a really screechy gatekeeping argument of like, well, TGS Anime and Enigma, they do some great work, but maybe it's not available in Spanish in terms of subtitles. I guess it's English auto-generate. I don't know how that necessarily works on the other side of things. I know when I've tried to look at, say, I don't know, HoloLive videos, right? It'll close caption into Japanese and I'll see the kana on screen, but it doesn't translate to English necessarily. There could be a screechy argument of, well, there's good content that's locked behind a language barrier, and this person is downloading the video and recompiling it, so to speak, to be able to reach a broader audience. I mean, but the question is, did this individual ask Enigma, or did they ask TGS Anime? Clearly, from the conversation at hand, there does not seem to be any sort of consent. There has been no exchange of messages, at least at surface level, that we've seen. And clearly, this is getting called out as a, dude, please stop. And that's why I treat every reaction I do with care, right? There are some creators, such as if I do this, right? Maybe I'll go theater mode or something like that. And like I will end up, I have a little border. I haven't used it in a hot minute. Whoops. I haven't used it in a hot minute, right? But I have a little border that I can use because some creators don't like their whole thing, like their whole video on screen, right? And that's perfectly fine. That is completely reasonable. It is their content, such as this is TGS Anime's content. If TGS Anime does not want reactions to his content, that is absolutely fair. Alternatively, if I or somebody react to his content and they're not transformed enough, if I'm not transformed enough, he has every right to say, hey, can you remove that? Can you stop doing this? You know? There needs to be a dialogue there. The system breaks down when that communication and that consent and respect just inherently break down. In terms of getting back to the whole screechy gatekeeping argument, look, if I want to watch a Japanese video, I mean, I'll just... I'll brush up on my Japanese. That being said, I feel like that's a statement that ages very poorly once it starts getting outside of certain things, right? Such as, I mean, like, I don't speak German. I don't speak Japanese, not fluently at least, right? I don't speak, insert language here, right? I don't speak Spanish. So therefore, someone might be like, wow, this Kip dude seems pretty cool, but I can't watch his videos because he doesn't do the Spanish thing, thus the need arising for, if there's a potential market, how do you address that? And that being said, we'll get an editor or something, like get someone to do captions for you. Okay, time, money, investment, is that something you necessarily want to do as well? Is it going to be worth it? There's a whole litany of things that come down to here. And the reason I say get screechy is that at the end of the day, creators are going to do what creators want to do and need to do. It's not that they're necessarily trying to throw anyone under the bus, not that they're trying to alienate anybody. It's that either it hasn't crossed their mind, it's just not worth it to them. There's a number of factors that can go in there that are not in any way, shape, or form malicious.
He had taken from Enigma included his Battle City video, his Capsule Monster video, and his Go Rush video. Enigma would also point out some other videos from other content creators that person had taken. He took Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything's Air Neos video, And after I myself watched the video, I noticed at the very least 2 videos on there were of mine. It was the Wicked Gods video and my Sacred Beast archetype video. Now, after being called out, fair enough to him, he deleted the videos that he was called out for. Only those videos that he was called out for, though, keep in mind. And then he uploaded an apology video. As of today, it's about 2 years later. The apology video, I think that got deleted weeks into being uploaded. The reason why, he wasn't really sorry. He just wanted to do a sort of a glaze over. People here now shown that I'm sorry, but new people, I don't want them to know I'd taken a bunch of people's videos, so we'll get rid of that. But as long as he's not doing any more stolen videos, then I guess we can let it slide. No, he's still doing it. So because of this,
So that becomes the issue. Is the individual necessarily sorry because he used content without people's authorization, consent, even respect, right? I mean, is he sorry because he's genuinely sorry? Or is he sorry because he got caught and it's performative? Get out that ukulele, right? You know, the toxic gossip train or whatever. Is he doing the whole bit? Contextually, this does come across as the latter. Now, I do think that it's, you know, appropriate for creators, especially if they don't like a video, if they don't feel, you know, right about a community post or something like that. Or if a comment just attacks somebody outright, right? Sure. I don't have any problem with them deleting it. Now, if it's like valid criticism, and you start, you know, culling some things, absolutely, we start running into an issue of censorship, pruning a narrative, etc. I think that there's a time and place, but once again, in general, nuance is kind of just lost on a lot of people. Something that I wish was normalized a lot more. A statement is not always X. It can be X, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? It doesn't always have to be X. But that's another discussion for another time. But right, so now we're getting back to habitually, with the precedent that's been set, someone who is now again stealing content. Once again, I mean, as someone who does react content, I try to do other things because Nickip TV, wink wink, right? I stream on Twitch and stuff. I try to do other things, but most of what I do is people just want to see the funny Dragon Man react to stuff. That being said, I mean, there is a moral and ethical thing that comes into this, and this is not me being harsh on myself. This is not me being like super critical. It is we do have to have a conversation about morals and ethics, right? Would love to react to a lot more YouTubers and stuff like that. That's why I'm debating on moving Yu-Gi-Oh! Specific reactions to Kip YGO. That way it's more themed over there. I have a lot that I can say on the subject. But even then, even if I were to move to Kip YGO, like, if the original creator, once again, if TGS Anime does not want a reaction, if Enigma does not want a reaction, if they don't want re-uploads by an individual that they have not authorized to upload the video, why should they be allowed to do that?
Goodwill's gone. He had a chance to sort of sort himself out, but he's still doing it. He's just trying to do it a lot better now. So here's all the videos he's currently got on his channel that I could be bothered to find that aren't his. So one of his best performing videos is one about the Yu-Gi-Oh! Iceberg theory, a video taken from a creator called Bumbles McFumbles. This video was taken from his Yu-Gi-Oh! Iceberg video. If you go for the video, a lot of the video footage is used from the original video footage. Oh, if he's taking the video footage, he's definitely taking the script. He's just mixing it up a bit. A more recent video he seems to have taken is the death of Yu-Gi-Oh!'s most popular gaming network, Dueling Network. This seems to be one of Mega Capital G's videos of the same name. It's rearranged a lot more nowadays. I think after being called out for copying people's videos, he's still taking the scripts, but he's really jumbling the scripts up. I think he is actually putting them into his own words now, but what he's not doing is using the footage from people's videos anymore, or at least as little as he can do as possible. But I watched through the video and there were like little sentences that were a bit too similar to each other, especially with the length and the title and everything. It's like, both of these people come up with the same thing? It's a bit suspicious, you know? He also...
Well, it's the plagiarism argument, is it not? Right? In school, right? If you have, a paper, say everyone has to do the same exact paper on, I don't know, George Orwell's Animal Farm, like 1984, right? Something that people went through in high school, right? In the U.S. where I lived, right? Like just papers on that. Sure, you might get some crossover and lap, but you're talking about the same thing. Even just taking, say, George Orwell out of the, like, let's say that I was to do a Yu-Gi-Oh! Presentation on the evil, I almost said Evil Smith. Wow, where is my brain? Not Evil Swarm. God, Evil Hero archetype, right? One of my favorite archetypes in both the anime and game, right? 100%. And TGS Anime already has a video up on it, right? like, we're going to cover similar points, even if we agree with each other, right? But, like, if TGS Anime were to say something along the lines of, outside of the effect, right? Because effect verbatim, prop solving card text word for word, that's kind of that is a citation for all intents and purposes, right? But if TGS Anime were to say something along the lines of, like, the open a video with the evil hero archetype is one that Jaden Yuki used in the 3rd season of the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX anime, and I effectively said it beat for beat, could I have started off with a different hook? Could I have maybe opened up with something different? Could I have changed the wording, right? Something along the lines of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Season 3 bought us the amazing evil hero archetype used by protagonist, technically antagonist, Jaden Yuki, right? But swapping it up a little bit, right? Now, once again, it does get a little different when you start going to citation, right? It's your works cited. Hi, this is this exact quote, right? If, Pot Agreed, what does Pot Agreed do? Quote, draw 2 cards. So, TGS Anime saying something in the video of Pot Agreed, draw 2 cards. Kip, Pot Agreed, draw 2 cards, right? But that is a direct citation. I think that you can learn a lot about video formatting and how things are structured from quite literally looking at how papers are structured.
Took his Delinquent Duo video, the story of the largest Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck. Not only do they have the exact same titles, almost the exact same length of time, but literally the first 10 seconds of the video are word for word.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a game that at some point in time, we duelists all simply played to have fun and because we enjoyed it.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Es un juego de cartas que en algún momento jugábamos por diversión y que también disfrutábamos mucho.
That fun and enjoyment could have come in many different forms, such as a thrilling competitive duel where
pudo venir de muchas formas diferentes, como un emocionante duelo, aunque hayas perdido, o disfrutar el sabor de la victoria.
It's at this point I want to point out that his subscriber count from 2 years ago when Enigma made the video to now has tripled in size, and I can only imagine that I don't know how much of his content isn't his content.
So I want to point out, and this is not me saying I'm giving up on React content, right? When that is rewarded, why should React content creators care? This is going to be one of those wow, I totally lost what it is. It's the question that answers that. Not redundant questions. I totally forgot the word for it. But it's one of those things you think about and you go, if this is rewarded, right? Let's even take a look at it from, say, a reactionary semi-transformative perspective, right? 73,000 to my current 46 or something like that. This is one of these is just rewarded over the other. You can see why a lot of, big React creators will add minimal commentary, or it seems like it's just a job to them. I react to things like this, not because it's going to get 10,000 views, not because it's going to be, 1 out of 10. It's because I want to react to stuff like this. I think it's cool to react to stuff like this. There's that inherent desire. I suck at speaking English, don't get me wrong. But, this is one of those things that, people in general do have to look at. And I think that this does run afoul of a lot of the whole, reaction content, screechy talking points, right? Because this is 73,000 subscribers from content that has effectively been stolen and or semi-transformed. I do a lot of just commentary at this point. Sometimes I've left commentated than others, but I have a commentary while watching the video effectively, which is weird because that just isn't, it's just not popular. That's not a self-jab. Factually, that's just not popular. Look at Amaranth and look at me, right? One of these just does better for all intents and purposes. One of these does Yu-Gi-Oh! Content just objectively better in the algorithm, and that's fine. So, but what we can also take from this is tripling in, say, the past 2 years, right? Tripling in that time frame. What this tells me is that there is a market, right? Going back to what we were talking about earlier, there is a market for multilingual projects, right? So if you have, going back to the Evil Hero discussion, right? If you have Evil Hero archetype video, and you have, TGS Anime in Espanol, right? Maybe that would see some traction. Clearly there is a demand, and you do still have every right to be like, look, this is, for all intents and purposes, not your content. You didn't ask me. I didn't authorize for this, right? Cool. I'm out. But Kip, he was there first. This Gigo guy, he was here first in doing it. Okay, but once again, morals, ethic, did he at least ask, right? And there's a lot of creators that I haven't unfortunately asked, but I do mention in every video pretty much, and sometimes when I don't, it's always implied. If someone has an issue with a reaction, they're more than welcome to reach out to me. Hey, Kip, you're not being as transformative, or hey, you know, this video wasn't super transformative. Can you take this video down, please? Or hey, please don't react to me in the future. And there's creators, CoffeeZilla, Kyle Hill, who openly say, hey, no reactions, or no reactions with an asterisk and then a little bit of clarification. And that's why I don't react to those people. Do I find them cool? Absolutely. But we really start to fix this when everyone starts playing that same ball game, right? Like, and that's the thing. I don't know what creators do and don't have permission. And you could argue, well, but they have permission, but I don't have permission. How is that fair? When we start that, we're arguing tit for tat at that point, right? Like, we are arguing tit for tat, and any enforcement comes down in a negative capacity on the entire platform. Certified skill issue status.
But based on how much content isn't his content, it's kind of scary to think how far you can get just by...
Yes.
When I make a video, it takes me about a week to make, typically. Sometimes it'll take all week, sometimes it'll take me like 4 days or something like that. Think of it as like a day of script writing, a day of like polishing the script, a day of recording it, and then doing a little bit of the initial edits, and then the last day is for the big edits. Then you upload, and you just pray to God the copyright gods don't get you or anything like that.
Yep.
That is literally hours of work. Look at me. I don't have an editor. I don't have a script writer or anything like that. It is literally me in this room, all by myself, click-clacketing away. I don't normally have my pretty lights on. It's actually kind of dingy in here sometimes. Back is killing me from hours of work, trying to...
I feel this. I everything this man has just said.
I like to think it's highly edited, high-ish quality. I don't know how high quality work it is, but...
Very high quality, actually. Your mic. So here's the thing, TGS Anime. Your mic work is consistent, right? Sure, there may be the occasional peak or whatever, but like your audio work is consistent. It makes sense. If someone finds it too loud, they could just do this. Cool, 60% of my mixer volume, right? Awesome, grats, and then it's fine, right? Like, the audio is consistent, the visuals are consistent, the visuals make sense. It's written in a way that makes sense. Proper citations are definitely there, right? Proper citation, once again, coming back to, oh, what does Evil Here Malicious Edge do? Well, this is Evil Here Malicious Edge reads a fact, right? For all intents and purposes, this is kind of the bar for Yu-Gi-Oh content for me. Sure, absolutely. You have people who, like Team Samurai X1. I love what he does. I respect what Team Samurai X does, but he definitely gets a lot for me, so I have to meter my doses of him. That is not a jab at him. That is it's a lot to consistently watch Team Samurai X1. Yeah. But things like, you know, people like Mega Capital G, people like the Dual Logs, right? I mean, I do watch other creators as tangential as I am in the sphere, right? I've dropped a bunch of money on Fiendsmith this year, but just the Idaho community for Yu-Gi-Oh just hasn't grown. It's not what I want to play. It's not somebody's eating a steak dinner at table 500 and we're laughing while we're just doing the Ubel mirror match and just devolving into headaches because, God, it's 50 minutes in and still no damage has been done, right? Like, that stuff is fun to me. Not sitting across watching my opponent shuff solitaire through his Lightsworn Fiendsmith min-max deck to get to his end board. Sure, end board building is part of the game, but when there's not the interactivity, I will just go play something like Warhammer 40k, and where I'm just have a good time with people in there. I want that communication. I want that ability to enjoy the game with the community. Something I feel that TGS Anime does very well. Like, he has built up a community for all intents and purposes. He is someone who comes across as, cool, I'm well read on this subject. Here is this thing. Grats, let's talk about this. Let's have fun with Yu-Gi-Oh, right? And he is correct. Absolutely. Editing does take time. There's a reason I don't edit a lot of stuff, especially when my workload is effectively solely incentivized by React content, right? It's why I wait that 2 to 4 days, because I'm aware that there is process in editing. And I do have to compete with those people who will react to videos day 1, hour 1. I understand that. I'm not willing to sacrifice my morals and ethics to the point that I start, TGS Anime just upload this video. I'm going to upload it, in 30 minutes after it releases. What's the incentive for him to do that work at that point? What's the incentive for him to do that work when somebody could just re-upload his content, right? Without asking him, just being like, hey, having a formal apology on the subject and just not caring and still doing it anyways. So I would say that your bar is high quality. Sure, you might go back videos like a couple years and like there might be some like mic issues, leveling issues, whatever, right? For all intents and purposes, I love when he uploads videos. I might not always get to them in time in terms of even just watching, not necessarily reacting to them, but your content is fantastic. It is quality. Do not sell yourself short on that.
I feel like I put a lot of effort into it.
You do.
And to know that someone can just literally just take that and just
Yes.
slap a different coat of paint on and just call it a day, it's horrifying. Especially for the people that are smaller channels. If you're a small channel that made a good video, but it doesn't get picked up, and this person takes that video, repackages it, uploads it, and they go viral with their video.
Yeah.
What a horrible thing to happen to someone. Listen how embarrassing this is. It doesn't matter what level of skill you have with editing or anything like this. One of the easiest things you can do is make like a little compilation of something. You just get your little Bandicam, you just record something, splice it together and upload it. You'd have to talk.
Literally do the Subway Surfers thing, right? Play Subway Surfers. Literally like have Cam on Deathmat, right? Shuffling through your cards, right? Like doing your opening U-Bell combo, your opening Tenpai combo, right? And then you have a separate audio, and then you put that in as your bass track. You make sure it's whatever format you want, right? And then you do your second audio track over, which is going to be, you know, either MP3 or something else. I usually use 2 videos, so I'll use like the bass video in case I need like kit bits, right? But then the top layer, which is going to come first and foremost, is going to be like, you know, you shuffling around and stuff like that, right? But then that's you talking about like, you know, the modern Yu-Gi-Oh metagame, XYZ, ABC, right? And then just going through that. Like, I don't think people, a lot of people understand we joke about it, right? Like the Subway Surfers, like actual meta of YouTube is horrifying to me because there is so much stimulation just like going on. And he's absolutely correct, right? 100%. He is absolutely correct. Just do it. It's why on some of my other channels, I have started just doing stuff. Once again, I want React content to not be the only thing that I do. And I have tried really damn hard over the past year and a half to do other things. But the answer has always been circling back to do this. Therefore, I can either lament that, or I can use my platform to signal boost things like this, right? And say, hey, this is an issue. In what I do, there are similar issues to this, 100%. Let's do something about this. Let's raise awareness of this. I'm a dingus, small dingus on the internet, right? I can only do so much, but at least I'm trying, and at least I'm willing to say, look, absolutely, I'm 100% with you guys on this, because that's BS. What's the incentive for you? If I did this video, right? If I were to upload this reaction, and this reaction were to get, say, 200,000 views, right? And maybe this stopped at 150, right? I would feel that I did a poor job. I feel like I would be doing a terrible job because a reaction should never eclipse the original video. That is my opinion on the subject. You may differ. I think that if I ever exceed, I have done a terrible job because I'm taking away from the original creator's vision. I'm taking away from the project that they have put out.
Over anything. So when Gigo Key did his all animation video in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, the easiest video to make, I might add, do you think that he just went onto his Master Duel, summoned the monsters and just recorded it? No, he did not. He went to Playmaker Yu-Gi-Oh's videos and took the completions from there instead. He also took them from a couple other places as well. So those were other people's videos that he'd taken. For me personally, that are currently still uploaded. Remember, he took the Wicked Gods down and the Sacred Beasts. There is currently a Eldritch video, a Sky Striker video up and uploaded.
It's funny you should say that, because I was looking through some old photos and it looks very, similar.
He took not only my True Rules of Duelist Kingdom video, but he also took my True Rules of Battle City video, almost word for word. He's even took the footage, just zoomed in a little bit, so my my watermarks missing in the corner. That seems to be what he used to do a while ago, but it's just insane how many different videos are on there. He also copied my True Effects of Egyptian Gods video. He even used my Divine Hierarchy that I made myself. He probably didn't know that I made it myself, but he's used that in the middle of his video, so yeah. More recently, I had an idea for a video where I was like, I wonder how many archetypes in the real world have been inspired by iconic monsters from characters' decks. So
before we move on, right, that whole insert, you can tell was on a different edit, right? The audio wasn't consistent. It wasn't as warm, right? It felt not necessarily like echoey, but it kind of felt a little more flat, quote unquote. I know that's the wrong word. I'm not an audio professional. But sure, things like that. You can recognize our post edit. Other than that, like everything is uniform. This is still high quality because the audio is consistent, which a lot of people on YouTube and social media and stuff, they don't have. It's why I'm terrified to do some of the streams that I want to do in regards to building Warhammer minis or going through, you know, my card game collections and stuff like that, because I need to sort a lot of stuff because I know my mic audio is going to be off. Like, my audio is such a huge thing in this industry.
I did Yu-Gi-Moto at first, so it's like Dark Magician, the Dark Magician deck, Karibo deck, Summon Skull, the Archfiend deck, you know, things like that. And then I did the same video for Kaiba, and I was planning to do a Joey video eventually. My Yugi video released on the 10th of June, his Yugi video released on the 20th of June.
So I want to showcase this, right? This is a problem, right? 10th of June 2024 versus 20th of June 2024. They have approximately the same amount of views. So once again, what we can take from this is TGS Anime en Espanol, right? Even if you rely on something like Google Translate, someone reaches out to you and is just like, hey, cool, you know, do you want to do this? More than happy to put my stamp of approval on it. You could even make the funny paid in exposure meme, right? But like, this clearly showcases that there's an interest, and this also gives an avenue for people to one, just effectively reuse your same video, right? I don't know how you would deal with the mouse syncing. Maybe you have, I don't know, maybe you do a reshoot of that specifically in terms, and just like layer the audio. I don't know, but this opens up possibilities. To me, this says there's clearly a demand. You just need to rework it so that way, one, this is if you want to capitalize on that, right? Because a creator is allowed to not want to capitalize on it, right? Something like Destiny, right? Destiny 2. If Destiny 2, Bungie doesn't want to do something, they're not going to do it, right? You can't change that. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. You're not going to move Bungie. But they still do own the IP. They still do own the content, and they're going to do what they want to. So once again, TGS Anime, if he wants to make, you know, TGS Anime en Espanol and do that, absolutely, I think there's a market for it. But if he doesn't want to, there needs to be that respect, and clearly it is not being shown. And this quite literally becomes the Dark Viper AU. What was, dude, he needs his drool bucket 100%. This becomes that argument. Oh, well, this is stealing and stuff like that. When it's done disrespectful like this, absolutely. When we're looking at this video, I'm already 26 minutes into a 9-minute video. Okay, I think there's a little bit more transformative nature to this, at least in my opinion. But I still do feel like I do run afoul of using TGS Anime's content. And absolutely, as I said in prior videos, I'm open if any creator wants to say, hey, this isn't okay, or hey, you know, this isn't a thing, right? And I mean, it's one of those things as well. If the creator wants to pass along something, right? Sure, I'll throw it in the reaction. Anything by Unsubscribed Podcast, Fat Electrician, Habitual Line Crosser, etc., look in the description. I throw Pepperbox TV. I'm not affiliated, sponsored with, incentivized, or in any way, shape, or form have anything to do with Pepperbox TV. But they are on that platform, and that's what they do, and they like it, and so thus I push it for no other reason than I do it to be nice. If TGS Anime suddenly came out with TGS Anime en Espanol, you know, Italian channel, etc., right, tried to capitalize on those markets, sure, yeah, I'd put him in the description, especially if he was trying to push them 100%. Because, sure, everything can be transactional based. I think it's just really grim to look at it that way. I think that it's really, really dumb to look at it that way in certain aspects, right? But then being said, like, if you want to collab with a bigger creator, right? Or if you want to do something, obviously give and take, right? I totally understand the transactional nature of some things. But sometimes you can just do something to be nice. I think that's lost on a lot of people nowadays.
My Kaiba video released on the 19th of August, his Kaiba video released on the 24th of August. You might have noticed that he hasn't made a Joey Wheeler video yet, even though it's like months and months after, and the reason that is because I haven't made my Joey video yet, because I just haven't bothered to do it yet. So it's funny how, if it was someone like me, I would play out a series, typically. This is just an example where I didn't, where I go Yugi, Kaiba, Joey, probably go to Mai, right, carry on, things like that. So if it was your series and it was doing well, you'd carry on doing it, right? Well, the only reason he hasn't carried on that series is because I haven't carried on the series. That's why. I will point out, again, his more recent videos, it does seem to be much more heavily changed in terms of the script. And I'd like to point out, there is nothing wrong with seeing somebody else's video on YouTube and deciding, I would like to have a little spin on that. I'd like to talk about that topic, make my own version of it. Like, that is absolutely fine. That is, you can't monopolize content in any way, shape, or form. No matter what anybody does, as long as you put your own spin and you talk about it in your own opinions and stuff, that's absolutely fine. Yeah. This isn't what's happening in this case. He is literally just taking someone else's work, rearranging it and making it sound as little like the person that originally said it to begin with. So Yeah, there's also a Joey and Marek video he's got, which I think could be the beginning and the ending of my Marek versus Joey video, because that was one of my old videos, and I used to do like segments at the start and the end where I go into detail and stuff. I don't really do that anymore, but that could also be one of Enigma's videos as well. I didn't bother going into detail and watching it, because why would I bother doing that? Now, I don't know how much of his...
So he does bring a point, and this does come from, if you've been caught doing something once, the suspicion will fall on you, or the expectation rather, that you will do it again, right? Even if you're zooming in, dynamic zooming in certain ways, cropping certain things, that way the watermark's not on it, right? Like, yeah. I think also one of the key differences, and I actually do pride myself that I do this, where if we go to my channel, right? If we go to Kip channel, right? And we go look at some of the videos I put out, right? Are any of these my own content? It's almost like I have a format where I blatantly say reaction in it depends on how the thumbnail's structured, right? If there's too much clutter on the top, I'll put it down. If there's too much clutter on the left side, I'll put it above me on the right side, right? Like, but in general, you know what the thumbnail is. There are certain instances where I've had to, and I used to do my own thumbnails in the past. I don't feel like it. I felt like it was a little dishonest, right? So if we look at, say, video, and we go to most popular, right? Sure, we have things like Lord Death and Murder Mountain from Badger. We have some things that I've done my own spins on, and sure, some of them work. But I always feel like it's just so disingenuous. But then again, you could probably make a direct correlation to these being popular. Clearly, these being popular, my older content versus something like this, where I have my newer format, right? And to me, that comes across as, well, are you trying to trick the viewer into watching it? And if that's the case, I don't want anything to do with that. You know what you're looking at coming in, right? You know at the end of the day, you're coming in for a Kip Reacts, commentary, whatever, 5xing the length of some videos, and having a commentary, having a discussion on this topic. I don't try to hide it. I don't try to pass it off as my own content. I think certain things I will try to, such as like if someone copyrights like this right here, and like copyrights this whole tangent where it's just me speaking, okay, I would like to see paperwork on how you own my voice. But if it's like introduction where it's music and I don't own the license to that, yeah, totally makes sense. Yeah, no, yeah, makes sense. But there's a difference there. There's a nuance. There's that funny N-word nuance coming up again.
Old content is his content, or how much of his new content is his own content, just inspired by other people's content. All I know is that the brief time I spent on there, whenever I saw a popular video, I thought, okay, I'll just Google that in English. And there was a very similar video that popped up. Is it inspired by, or is it literally just ripped from it? So yeah. So what is the point of this video? Well, the main thing is, personally, I would like him to just delete everybody's videos that he has taken content from and that is not of his original thing.
So to be critical of that, and this is like that professional criticism, right? Not sending hate, to clarify, because I have to clarify because it's the internet. All TGS Anime can do is his own videos. When it comes to Mega Capital G, anyone else that's affected by him, by this uploader, they would be the ones to have to do that. Unless, obviously, they probably talk behind the scenes. They probably have all come to this, like, yeah, like this guy, yeah, no, I'm good. Probably have some kind of like group, like Facebook Yu-Gi-Oh chat or something like that, right? But like, yeah, so you can only control what you have direct oversight over, right? So, you know, I don't have permission to react to CoffeeZilla videos, right? But that doesn't mean Smug-Alana doesn't, or has already asked, so that way they're able to react to it. I can't really say anything on that. I don't have control over that, nor is it necessarily seen as appropriate for me to do so. Like, if we're looking at like a like decorum procedure kind of thing, I do take a little bit of criticism with that. But that being said, this does open up the door to many other creators as well, saying, "Hey, my content is being stolen by this person. This is what they're doing." Okay, I don't like it. I would appreciate taking. But TGS Anime is also doing the thing that I keep advocating for, just talking, right? Just doing the thing. Hey, I don't appreciate this being up, right? I don't know how the copyright tool effectively can and would work. That would be something that I just don't have enough knowledge over that system, and if it would be seen as valid or not, if that would be its own headache or not. But even then, it's probably not a good fix for that situation in general as well. Like, this is how you do this. And then if you're verifiably just bootloading, freeloading content, right? And you're just ignoring a request to say, hey, please take this down, please delete this, you are the pendejo for all intents and purposes, right? You are the aggressor. You are the jerk here.
I think he would do that because he would probably not want to lose money.
Sure.
He's already done the apology route and deleted it, so he definitely wasn't sincere or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what the point of this is. It's just I was frustrated seeing it. It sucks having your own content taken, but I'm a big enough channel now where it doesn't affect me too much, even though it does annoy me. But I think anyone that is a smaller channel and it does affect them, I think that is where the line should be drawn, really, to be honest with you. So yeah, this is a very different video than I normally would have made. There would have been a lovely archetype video today, but I've decided not to do it instead of doing this. So yeah, thanks for watching. Catch you later.
Honestly, respect. I'm so sorry I ruined your video by making it 3x the length. But like, no, these bring very, very good conversations to the forefront, and conversations that need to happen, right? It does start to get weird if you're working with, say, because like, for example, when we're talking about the Sky Striker thing, right? If we want to look at it from an objective standpoint, if you're trying to use the card art and stuff, there is only so much that you can do, right? So looking at thumbnails, right? If you look at, you know, Dark Magician versus Blue Eyes, sure, it depends on which one you want to do, depends on what artwork, right? Or the Egyptian gods, right? I mean, there's only so many artworks of those, and you're probably going to run in some kind of overlap, but do your own spin on it, right? I could have funny Blue Eyes White Dragon, right? And maybe I could do a different kind of dynamic zoom or shift than other people do. Or even if I do the same thing, is the content necessarily different, right? Even though it's in a different language, this clearly is running afoul of certain things. And even then, even if we want to argue that this is no different than the React content that I do, which I would argue it is different, I think we are arguing certain finer points. As I do self-admit, I do run afoul of a lot of these things as well. He is being asked by TGS Anime, the source that he is using, to remove the content. And I think that's incredibly fair and incredibly reasonable to do. So we're going to see where this goes. Always wanting to support, just whatever creators I find cool, right? TGS Anime is really cool. I like his take on things. I like his videos. I honestly really, really love what he does. And it's just upsetting that, I honestly don't, I wonder why he doesn't have more people react to him. But then again, like, there's also struggles that come from the artistic side of YouTube, where you are trying your best to be transformative as possible, and you're trying to make something new, like Loomis versus Umbra. I don't know when the last time I've literally seen that fight mentioned. It's great, though, and I take my time on it because, sure, there's algorithm incentive to be the first on the scene. It's like why you see people reacting to Internet Historian literally within the first hour or two, right? They want that algorithm. But it leads to just a degenerative platform state. And I think there needs to be some sort of clarification in regards to copyright on the platform, in regards to React content, stuff like that. But then again, I don't think we'll get it. At the end of the day, I mean, it does push metrics, it does push engagement. And I do open up, like, any content creator I react to, anyone that, like, is just like, cool, right? Awesome. We can have that chat, right? Especially if I've reacted to your content. Is that if I'm not being transformative, if I'm not doing my job, I understand that, and I'll even help to platform the, hey, don't do that, right? It's why I repeat, people like Kyle Hill, people like CoffeeZilla do not want their content reacted to or reacted to in full. They are allowed to say that. So I don't know. I've gotten off. This is like a conversation that I've had many times over the past little while, and especially because it does relate to what I do in a certain way. I wanted to make sure that I was able to make a video on it, talk about it, give my 2 cents on it, and just give people things to think about, right? Which you should definitely check out TGS Anime as well, by the way, wink wink. In the description down below, I have linked TGS Anime, and you should definitely go check out not only this original video, but his original channel as well, because he's got some banger uploads. I don't often get to him a whole lot, and I do apologize for that. It does take me a little bit of time, and even then, try and maybe move it over to those reactions over to a Yu-Gi-Oh! Specific channel might help, but that doesn't really address the underlying issue of there are problems with not only content theft, but reactions my sphere of what I do and keeps getting pushed because people like me talking about things for some reason. I don't get it. But have a nice day. Thank you, TGS Anime, for putting out a banger video. I think this does outline a very big issue that is on the platform, and I absolutely respect uploading it. And I hope that some conversation spawned from this in regards to people, what is appropriate and not appropriate on YouTube. Thank you for watching.